Hello, it's Jeanette with Geomazing Paper Crafts. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm back with another video tutorial, and this time I'm going to show you how I made this little angled purse. I'm calling this my bitty bolsa, and bolsa is actually the Spanish word for purse or bag. And this little purse measures about 2 3/4 of an inch on the bottom here, and about 1 3/4 inches on the top. And also it's about 1 inch deep. Now it's about 2 inches tall, but with the handle, of course, it's going to be taller, and that would depend on how much ribbon you use for the handle. And inside this magnetic closure purse, I have one little tea light. Now I bought this little tea light candle from Party Lights, I believe it is, and that was several years ago. I'm not exactly sure what fragrance it is, but I thought the pink kind of matched nice with this little powder pink in color that I have on this purse. Now, I'm going to be making this a different color. I'm going to be making this with another new in color called Lemon Lime Twist. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start by making the top. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to score everything all at one time. So I'm going to be cutting the oval top out of the oval framelits, the layering oval framelits, and I'm going to make that the scalloped ones. So I'm not going to use the largest or the second to the largest. I'm going to use the third to the largest. Okay. Now, if you notice on this paper, it does have a pattern. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and angle that so that this little flower kind of is like the front of my bag. And I'm going to take this to the Big Shot. I won't be bringing the Big Shot in, but I'll take this to the Big Shot and I'll cut this out, and I'll be right back. I'm going to save my leftover because I am going to be punching some holes out of here too. Okay, but this is my little oval here, and I'm going to put that back over there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of designer series paper, and this is from the Floral Fresh Florals, just like this one is from the Fresh Florals designer series paper collection, and this is Lemon Lime Twist. Like I said, I'm going to bring in my Simply Scored scoring tool, and I'm going to make sure there's no glare here, and I'm going to take this oval, and what I'm going to do is I am going to the oval is almost 3 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take it, and on the side where I have that floral that I want in the front, I am going to score this with the larger side of your stylus tool. You want to score it at 1 inch, and then you want to score it again at 2 inches. Okay? All right, and then you can just go ahead and fold it like that. Okay, and I'm going to put this aside for now, and then I'm going to take my piece of designer series paper that measures 5 inches by 4 3/4 of an inch, but on the 5 inch mark I'm going to mark this at 2 inches, and I'm also going to mark this at 3 inches. I'm going to score it, rather, scoring it at 2 inches and 3 inches. And now I'm going to take a pencil, and you want to use a pencil that's a little bit easy to erase. And you're going to make a pencil mark right at the 2 1/2 inch mark, and also at the 1 1/2 inch mark, okay, and also at the 3 1/2 inch mark, okay. And all of this is going to make sense in just a little bit. I just want to make sure I have my marks right. Okay, and you can erase them, but you're not going to need to even erase these because you'll be cutting these, you'll be cutting where I'm making the marks. But I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mark it right at 2 1/2 with a pencil. I'm marking it at 1 1/2. So that's 1 1/2, 2 1/2, and 3 1/2. Okay. That should make it a little bit easier for you to remember. 1 1/2, 2 1/2, and 3 1/2. Okay, so here are my score lines right here. Okay, and I've got that mark right in the center on both sides and 1/2 inch outside that score line. Now I'm going to turn this, and I am going to be making some more pencil markings. And this marking, the first marking I'm going to make is at 1/2 inch, and then 1.5 inches, and then 3 1/4 inches, and then 4 1/4 inches. Okay, so it's 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches, 3 1/4 inches, and 4 1/4 inches. I'm going to turn it around, do the same thing. It's 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches, 3 1/4 inches, and 4. Oh, that's not right. That's 3 1/4 inches is right here. 3 1/4 inches and 4 1/4 inches. Okay, and now the last marking that I'm going to be making on here is 1 inch. Do you see how I have it folded here like this? I'm going to make a mark 1 inch on each of these score lines into the paper. Okay, and hopefully you can see this, but I'll try to I will try to go in on the camera. Now I'm just making a mark right on top of that score line at 1 inch in. Okay, and I'm going to turn it around and do the same thing on this side. And I know this might seem a little bit complicated right now, but you're going to see how nicely all of this goes together. So I've done all the measuring for you. Okay, so I've got all these little markings here, and I am done marking things for now. Okay, so let me get out my ruler, and I am going to keep the stylus out because I am going to need to make some score lines. Now, when I folded these two right here, what I also needed to do is just kind of make a little marking with my pencil just at the edge of that score line, just so that I know where the edges are. And this is helpful to me, okay? And I'm just doing that with the side of my pencil, just making a little marking at this edge and at this edge. And don't worry, these markings are going to get cut off. Okay, so now that I have that marked, I am going to go ahead and start making some score marks. So from this edge here to that first 1/2 inch tick mark that I made with the pencil, I'm going to be scoring that angle that you need for the purse. So let me line my ruler up. Hopefully there's not a lot of glare on my ruler. And I'm going to be using the smaller end of the stylus so that I can make a nice crisp line this way, and I'm going to do the same just on the opposite side from the edge of the paper to that first 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch mark that I made. We're just going to make that score line right there and do the same on this side. Okay, one there, and also one here. And don't put your ruler away yet, because you are going to be making 2 more score lines from here to here and here to here, and from here to here and there to there, but not yet. I like to do that at the end, and here's why. I am going to be folding this here like this, okay, and I'm going to be cutting things off. Okay, because that's where your angle is going to, the purse is going to be angled like that. But now I need to make, I need to cut up to that 1 inch line. I need to use my paper snips, and I want to cut it, but I want to make sure that I'm cutting on the opposite side of that score line, okay? Making sure that this part here doesn't have any of the score line left on it. And also right here, I'm going to do the same thing, okay? And now with this middle mark here, that middle mark that I made in between those score lines, in between the score lines, I am going to just go ahead and cut from here to there, okay? You see what I mean by you're not going to be able to see those score lines? Okay, and then I'm going to just go ahead and cut that like right there. Just cut it in half. So now I'm going to take this score line here, You see that marking that I made that's kind of like in the path of that score line? I'm just going to take that to the edge and all the way to that score line there. And to the edge and to this actual marking right there. Okay, so now you're going to be left with that. And so now I'm going to be cutting off these flaps, and I'm going to be cutting off the actual score line. Now you might probably want to do this with a bigger pair of scissors. You might have a little bit more control, but I'm using my paper snips. Okay, now I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm going to explain it again. I'm going to be cutting up the score line to this 1-inch mark on the inside where I made those 2 score lines, okay? And then another 1-inch marking here, okay? And then I'm going to cut from this middle score line all the way here, okay, to that little mark, that 1-inch mark, and here also to that 1-inch mark, okay? And then I'm going to be just chopping that off right there, but chop it in half, okay? And now you can kind of like on your own just kind of fold that here. I didn't make a score line there, but if you want to make a score line between those 2 markings, go right ahead. I didn't find that it was necessary because now I'm just folding those, and I've got those 2 smaller flaps right here, okay? And now I'm going to go ahead and cut from this score line, from this marking all the way to that edge right there, and this marking all the way to that edge right there. And then we're going to cut off these flaps. Okay? And I'm trying to make sure that there's no score line left when I cut those flaps off. Okay? And so your paper should look like this. Now it's time to make those 2 score lines. And the reason I wait to the end is that I want to make sure that this little crease here matches up with that little marking that I made. So I'm going to bring back my ruler, and I will go ahead and make this little score line with the small ball of my stylus on this side, and then again on this side. Okay, and turn it around. I'll do it on this side. And then again on this side. Okay, and now you can see once I fold these score lines in, put your flaps inside, you can see how this purse is actually coming together. See that? Look at that. Isn't that cute? So I hope I explained it really good to you. Now we're going to go ahead and glue this. Now the trick to gluing this, it's not really that much of a trick, but you got to make sure that it lays flat on the table, okay? And so sometimes it looks like this is not connecting here. So what you might have to do is you might have to actually trim this just a little bit here on the one that you're going to call the back, okay? Just trim it just slightly. Okay, doing some troubleshooting. Okay, now that's going to stay to the back, and now this should go together perfectly now. See? Sometimes it just needs just a little hairline of a trim more. But if you trimmed it right, don't worry about it. Okay, now let's go ahead and put some snail adhesive on here, on these 2 flaps. And this is the front flap that I'm using. And I'm going to just go ahead and put it flat on the table like this, and I'm going to put it together like that. And this should line up here. In fact, mine's lining up pretty good, so I'm pretty happy about that. All right, and now it's time to go ahead and work on the top. So for the top, this is what I have here, and this is the front, and this is the back. But before I do that, I want to put my ribbon on here for my handle. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is, if you want to, you can go ahead and make a pencil mark about 1/4 of an inch in, right in the center. Okay. Is that about the center? I'm just eyeballing it here. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to take my 1/8 inch hole punch, and I'm just going to go ahead and punch a hole 1/4 of an inch in on both sides. Okay, and then I'm going to take a piece of tear and tape, and I'm going to put this tear and tape right on the inside between the 2 holes. Okay, don't cover the holes with it, just go from the edge of each hole. Now I know that you can tear this, but I'm cutting it, but you can see where I have the tear and tape just in between the hole, and that's where I'm going to be holding on to the ribbon. And the ribbon that I'm going to be using is also new, and this is the Lemon Lime Twist ribbon here. I still have it on the spool here in my little holder, and I'm going to just try to take my ribbon scissors here, and I will cut it at an angle so that I can feed it into the hole, and I'm going to be feeding it into the hole from the inside. Okay, and then I will determine how much ribbon I want as my handle, and I'm going to go ahead and feed it the hole from the top side, and let me determine how much of a handle I want. Let me compare this with this one here. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, and so I'm going to be removing the top layer of that adhesive, that strip from the tear and tape, and I'm going to be putting this down, but I want to make sure that this is laying right. And let me cut some of this off here. Okay. So I'm going to just go ahead and lay that down here, and I'm going to lay this down here too, and cut the excess off. And there you have it. There's my ribbon for my handle. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some snail adhesive again, and I'm going to put snail adhesive on the back side. Okay, and I'm going to bring my purse over. See, this is the front side here, and I am just going to try to line that up as evenly as I can, and we are taping the back. There it is, right there on the back. Now you can use fast fuse if you'd like. That would work too. Now it's time to go ahead and put our magnets on here. I have 2 neodymium magnets, or however you you want to call them. I just lost my other magnet. I'm sure that it's connected to something metal, but let me go grab another magnet. Okay, now I have 2. Okay, and I'm going to use some glue dots, and I'm going to take a magnet with my paper piercing tool. I'm going to take a glue dot and put it right on top of a magnet as neatly as I can, and then I am going to place that right here on the inside of the top scallop. Okay, and then I'm going to take some of that leftover paper, and I'm going to take a 1/2 inch hole punch, and I am just going to cut or punch, let's see, 2 little pieces of paper, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover that magnet so that it's not so strong. Okay, but I'm going to put a glue dot on the magnet again. I'm going to take this little piece here, and I'm going to put it right over the magnet. I'm going to take my other magnet and make sure that the polars are matching. Of course they will. Just throw it on there and it'll match up. Now I'm going to take another glue dot, and I'm going to put that on the magnet. Okay, and before I put that other little round circle on it, I want to make sure I have this lined up perfectly on this side of the purse, because this is the front side of my purse. Okay, I'm just going to press it just very lightly, and then I'm going to peel that off, and now press that magnet in so that it stays. And then you'll cover that magnet, and by covering it, you're actually making it a little less strong, because the hold is pretty strong. These are really, really strong magnets. Okay, and so now when you close it, those magnets match up there, and let's put our little bow on here. Now this bow comes from the 2017 to 2019 In Color collection of Bitty Bow Embellishments. That's what these are called. Now I'm going to take that little lemon lime twist one. Of course, it's on the bottom, of course. I couldn't have chose a different color here. We're going to take one of these, and we'll put those back. Now these have a piece of adhesive on the back of these. Okay. And you just kind of peel that off, peel that backer paper off, and we're going to just set that right here. Okay, I'm going to open it up and press it so that it stays on there. Okay, and one more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be bringing out my little decorative ribbon punch. This is a new punch. At first I thought this was an edge punch, but it actually punches out a really nice ribbon. Now I'm going to take some Whisper White, and I'm going to be punching this out in the Whisper White as an accent piece on the bottom edge. Now when you punch this, what I like to do, of course, what you will do is match up. There's these little markings. Of course, you're going to match up what you've already cut to those little markings. But what I like to make sure is that I have one scallop hidden inside, and that just kind of helps me line these things up a little better so that I'm not missing or I'm not skipping. So one scallop punch out is going to be underneath. Okay, so I am going to line that up. I kind of have to get on top of it in order to see it. But you want to make sure that all of the shiny silvery stuff is showing. Okay, so that's that side. Now let's do the other side, and I'll try to speed this up for you, okay? Okay, this is my ribbon here. I don't think I'm going to need a whole lot of this. I won't need this whole thing because I'm only going to be doing the front. Let me get rid of some of these scraps here. And I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet. Okay. And I'm also going to bring in a little piece of our Stampin' Sponge and some liquid multi-purpose adhesive. And I'm just going to put a little dab here. Okay, and you can use pretty much any adhesive you like, but I want to just spread this a really thin layer. Let me go of this, and when I do it with this silicone craft sheet, I'm able to pick it up, and there's no glue on the front. Any excess glue is on the silicone craft sheet. Okay, so let me line this up so that there's a scallop right in the middle on the bottom edge. Can you see that? Okay. And then I'm going to take my paper snips, and I'm going to just do this at an angle on this side and this side. And I'll also do the same thing on the back. Let me just add a little bit more glue on here. Okay, and take my little sponge and dip that, and I'm just kind of wiping the back with that liquid glue, and I'll take this and put this on the back edge. And you can also do this on the side edge if you want, however you want to make it pretty. I'm just going to do the front and the back. Oops, looks like my glue, I didn't get enough glue on there. Or I didn't press hard enough. I have enough glue on there. I just need to press hard enough. There you go. Okay, and on this side too. Okay. And there you have it. Okay. And there's my little lemon lime twist purse. And of course, you're going to put whatever you want to put in here. Put some candy in there. Put a little tea light candle in there if you have one. But I just love these little purses. Aren't they adorable? So I hope I haven't made this too complicated for you to make this purse. I do hope that you'll try this. It isn't really that difficult once you kind of get all your measurements and markings correct. And they go together really nicely after that. So I hope you try it. So if you need any of the tools or supplies that I used in this video, please go to my website at www.geamazingpapercrafts.stampinup.net. And I'd be happy to be your demonstrator if you don't already have one. So once again, I'm Jeanette with Geamazing Paper Crafts, and you make it a great day. Bye-bye.